Sophie Cunningham showed that she is, the old Caitlin Clark enforcer. She is the Caitlin Clark enforcer. That has been shown. She is the enforcer that the Fever have needed for the last year, and she has responded.
What occurs when Sophie Cunningham puts down the basketball and dons the bodyguard badge as if she were employed by the Secret Service specifically to quell Caitlin Clark's utter chaos? We are talking about complete emotional destruction. The locker room erupts, and Sophie is smoking like it's her job. I'm sitting there wondering, is anyone on this team going to defend Caitlin Clark after Jacy Sheldon grabs her and claws at her throughout the game? It's like, tonight was a brawl, folks. And still, no backup? This wasn't just drama. This was a scorched earth policy, and you can be sure that the fallout was intense. So how did Sophie break her silence after being ejected for standing up for Caitlin Clark against the Connecticut Sun Bullies? We'll break it down if you support Sophie. Because when Sophie snapped, it wasn't a flicker, it was a full superhero origin story. She didn't just show up to play, she showed up to destroy the entire Connecticut Sun like she had been planning it all season. As you can see here, Sophie, let's move downstairs and begin with the play that kicked off the evening. Caitlin Clark is being guarded by Jacy Sheldon, who swipes her in the eyeball. Caitlin nudges her away because Jacy is still in her face, and then Tina Charles rushes over and starts waving her finger in Caitlin's face. And out of nowhere, Marina Mabrey appears and throws Caitlin Clark to the ground. Let's watch this in slow motion. Sheldon, who is guarding Caitlin, swipes her in the face. One of the players hits Caitlin in the eye. She has to start wearing goggles. Caitlin pulls the attacker away, basically saying, "Why are you still in my face?" Marina Mabrey then chucks her to the floor. Since Sophie Cunningham didn't clock in for a regular shift but rather for warfare, the entire WNBA should have been on high alert. Sophie didn't come with a single goal, she came to ensure that no one touches Caitlin Clark without life-altering consequences. Consider her to be a human firewall. You go beyond her boundary, you burn. WNBA Fight Night, or WNBA Raw, as some are calling it, was an incredible game. Basketball, fighting, blonde-on-blonde crime, it had everything. But in the end, it led to an Indiana Fever W, 88-71. Let's face it, Sophie wasn't acting like a teammate. She was acting like Area 51's head of security. You elbow Caitlin, and Sophie appears like the basketball Grim Reaper in a ponytail, fully loaded with receipts. Let's begin right here. Sophie tries to hold Sheldon while they're on the ground. But when Sheldon hits the floor, chaos breaks loose. Sophie exclaims, I'm not having it, we'll go. That's right. That was obviously a result of everything that's happening right now, people. I mean, when I say that social media is destroying the WNBA, it's an understatement. Sophie doesn't do warm-up jogs. She does territorial patrols. She patrols the court like a hawk on Red Bull, ready to stop chaos before it starts. And when it does, she's the judge, jury, and executioner of the court. One wrong move and Sophie is already in your lane, delivering justice with a sidelong shoulder check of intimidation. Her body language doesn't say, let's play. It screams, try me and meet your chiropractor. Let's be clear. Marina Mabrey should be ejected for that completely unprovoked throwdown. Jacy Sheldon? She swiped Caitlin in the face. Whether it was intentional or not, a blatant foul is a blatant foul. Caitlin got a flagrant call against her, yes, but it's clear who was really being hunted. Marina and Tina Charles only got technicals. Jacy Sheldon got a flagrant one. No players were ejected. Not even after Clark got thrown to the hardwood. But this woman, Sophie, she's more than a deterrent. She's a symbol. While other players are stretching and prepping, Sophie is mentally loading symbolic ammunition. There's no halfway with Sophie. She's not here for the pre-game vibes. She's here to throw down like it's the Hunger Games, and Caitlin's holding the last district. This kind of fearless loyalty is practically extinct in the league. While some stars are practicing mindfulness and journaling their mantras, Sophie's planning divine retribution. And when she sees Caitlyn hit the ground, she comes in like a vengeful guardian angel with a crossover and a purpose. Sophie was bringing that 90s bruiser energy, wrapped in a modern-day, don't mess with my girl, mentality. It's not strategy. It's instinct. Jacy Sheldon was all over Caitlyn Clark. Marina Mabrey checked her to the ground and rode her like a mechanical bull. Caitlyn Clark needs goggles at this point. This is not basketball. This is targeted punishment. Let's move to the actual issue. Caitlyn Clark didn't just walk into the league, she walked into the lion's den with a bullseye the size of Indiana on her back. Defenders weren't just trying to stop her, they were trying to make a statement, to push her into the Gatorade cooler and send a message. But they didn't take Sophie into account. Be mindful of your mouth, because Sophie Cunningham is sitting front row with a vendetta. Literally 1 minute into the game, and 1 minute into this reaction, chaos breaks out. And it's obvious, the Indiana Fever needed someone like Sophie. Some of the players on this team are clearly tired. But they didn't realize one woman could stop an entire press of pettiness. Clark's target area? Sophie turned it into a destruction zone. This wasn't just about the team. It was personal. Sophie named herself Chief Protector, and her background checks have consequences. She reads energy like some players read box scores. This isn't about basketball anymore. This is about WNBA WWE Raw. Everyone knows it. And this incident with Sophie? The WNBA and the referees handled it terribly. Caitlyn had to endure a season where every game felt like an emotional and physical test. Not just skill, but patience. She's taken cheap shots, flagrant bumps, and disrespectful stares. And while Caitlyn stayed composed like a pro, Sophie made it crystal clear that elegance doesn't mean weakness. This wasn't about playing the game anymore. This was about maintaining order in a combat zone. Alright, enough is enough. Sometimes the line is crossed too often, and someone has to step in. That's where Sophie comes in. Because while the refs were asleep, Sophie was already sketching her own plays that involved perfectly timed, perfectly legal intimidation. She wasn't just on the court. She was on watch. This isn't about influence. Sophie is not protecting Caitlyn for clout. She's protecting her because she gets it. She sees the bigger picture. And here's the twist, Sophie Cunningham isn't just a hooper. She is the league's most dangerous deterrent. She doesn't defend. She delivers. Her goal isn't awards or highlight reels. Her goal is Caitlyn's protection. She is a force of nature. And when she flies into a play with that signature, you messed up, smirk, everyone on that court knows it's about to get very, very real. So here's the question for the WNBA, are you gonna fix this? Or are you gonna wait until Caitlyn gets seriously hurt by players who are jealous, bitter, and careless? Because next time, Sophie might not even get ejected. She might just end the game before it begins.